Welcome back everyone to the channel. This video is a fabrication type one. I'm installing a light bar, a LED light bar to my razor that's behind me. And the light bar itself is a auto beam 12-inch. Wiring harness is the part that I made myself. This is why I'm calling it a fabrication one. You'll be seeing how I did the install or the fabrication of the wiring harness shortly. But right now, basically, it's a DIY harness. It's probably just the same cost of ordering one from Auto Beam, but I had the parts in stock, so I just made it myself. So basically, that light bar is going to come and install here, and I'm going to pick up my power off my winch solenoid, which is down here. Got pictures of it anyway later on. And the switch itself is going to come into this cutout that I did. So I'm going to install the light bar into the two mounting mounts that are there, not bolts, but the two mounting holes, brackets. One thing that I do want to mention though is that Auto Beam doesn't provide some rubber cushions for this type. I don't know, it's probably a mistake it was missing, but I don't think they provide it, so I just cut out some rubber pad that I had, and that's it. So yep, so basically of course this is already preset by me and set it up. So 4 bolts hold on the brackets, and 2 nice size bolts hold on to the eyelets. Here we go, that's that. Oh, sorry for hitting the camera, but basically overly complicated, overly engineered lock washer. And you just install it. There we go, that's nice and snug. And the only piece left to do at this end of it is to take the wiring harness of the light and put it through a hole that I made. I don't know if you can see it, it's in there. It's a 1/2-inch hole, so I can get this connector in and then shove the other one behind it. And once I'm done, I'll just put some silicone there and it'll be good. Okay guys, definitely not the easiest thing to do, but to get the right lighting. But basically, I got the switch through. I'm gonna pass one of my wires over the bar, through the bulkhead, which will get me my power wire over this bar inside, and again, it's it through the bulkhead too. Going to disappear a bit just so I can pull on it a bit like that. Before I get carried away, I'm going to install my relay. That hole there. Take out my trusty electric ratchet. Tighten it in. I have a ground stud here that I had previously installed for my winch relay. Install my 3 connectors. Put the nut back on. Change the socket. There we go. Push that through a bit. Start pushing the switch a bit. That's it for now. There we go. Wires for the light wires for the power. That'll go on after. So, but basically now I'm going to start putting some zip ties. Like one right here. Make that install nice and tight. This wire will go through here, which will follow the headlight wiring harness through here. Time to change camera. Here's the wire. Basically, it'll run like that. I'm going to put a zip tie right here. Like that, and then basically going to grab the two wires from the plug, the headlight, push that in there. Oops. Like that. I'll put another zip tie right here. Cut the tails off the zip ties. Okay, I believe that's it for this part. Okay, time for the power. We'll basically take that switch nut off. I'm going to pull the cable off, making sure I don't touch anything because that's live power. So if you're not comfortable with doing this, make sure you unplug your battery. I've done this a few times, so I'm comfortable not unplugging it. But highly recommend you unplug battery. And then using a 10 mil, tighten your stud up, the nut on the stud. Make sure your wrench does not touch anything metallic, because you are going to create a half decent spark. And that's it. And once you're all done, you're going to push the boot back up, like so. Make it nice and neat. And that's it for the front end. And I don't have any light. I got a wire on backwards. Ah! So that means these wires are on backwards. Gotta get my electrical diagram out, because I think I plugged my wires on backwards. Not a overly big deal. But let's look at this. 1 and 2 do not have anything plugged into. My ground is number 3. I don't know if you can see this, but my ground is definitely not number 3. So the reason why this was unplugged, for starters, is for me being able to get this and this together. So 3, which is this number, I don't know if you can see it, but it's this one, my black wire. And then this is my power, which will go on 5, which is this one. And then 4, which is this one, will be my green wire, which is this one. And I'm going to go on a limb and say this goes on number 6, which is to light up my light in my switch. because my first notch turned my light on. So I got that right. Look at this. Lights are on. And on the second, it's still on with future lights. So that's it, really. Just now what's basically left is put some more tie wraps, make sure the wires don't rub anywhere. They're nice and tight. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, so originally I was going to use 12 gauge wire because I didn't have any 14, but I did have some 18. And from the looks of this wire, I'm going to be more than comfortable using 18 gauge wire. It's only a lead anyway, so I'll be alright. Now it's time to put some connectors, heat shrink, make sure this doesn't leak, and build my relays, fuse, switch is already in the bike, and run the wires, and we'll go from there. So enjoy for now. So I'm going to hot glue this piece on. Then I'm going to take some tape. All that just for that. Time to put this away. I'm going to run the wires, see how long I need, and then I'm going to come back to the bench where I can film it, making it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the wiring harness, the plug, the relay, the fuse holder, everything's basically wired in. So I got switches here, relays there, fuse holders there, my ground here. All my wires are basically taped together where they need to be taped together, so I can, when I pull it out, and I can clean it up and make it nice and tight and waterproof it. Front end looks like this. So I got my light there. The wires are not in the right place, but they'll be going through that hole, so they'll be nice and tight. I'll put a bit of silicone. And then on top here, get the lighting proper. So the wires come down. Again, this is just so I can run it, get the length proper. And now I got to pull it out, put it on the bench, and pull it out, put it on the bench, and make a harness out of it, a proper harness. And I'll take you along for that part. That's the interesting part. So here we go, folks. Switch, relay, fuse, my grounds, and my leads to one to the battery, power, and my light. Now I'm going to make this pretty. So right now I just put some tape in order to keep it tight. I'm going to put some shielding over it. And I got three. This is it's a bit big, but that's all I got right now. Definitely do the 3 wires with this. Give me some room for some flexibility, especially for the switch. Stay on the bench. Give me some expansion. And this, I'll try to, well, not try, I will fix this up a bit more. But that's basically it. So, bit of tape. And we'll measure it. So basically, this is how it's going to happen. So, like so. I need this much. Need a cutter. So if you're wondering what size this is, that's 1/2 inch. So Okay, I could have went with the, whoops, this needs to go back in that little hole. I think my wires a bit tight. Yeah. I'll cut a bit of this off. Yeah, so like I was saying, the reason why I'm going to this concept, or this type of shielding, is that's how Polaris did their wiring harness. And if it was a taped wiring harness, I would have taped it. Trying to keep the same look, keep that OEM look. So if I ever sell it, when somebody looks at it and said, hey, that's a clean install, well, that's because I try to keep it OEM look. I'm just going to bend these out of the way and take some black tape. Yeah. This is where it's going to get nice and tight. Put the cap on, so it's going to move it down. Get the cap off. Put some tape on. There we go, that's done. And that's basically it. Back to plan B. My tape straight. Plan B. Tape. So I got a bit of space there. Got a plan. I have some silicone, black silicone, where I'm going to shove. Hopefully this still works. This is why you keep it, your how to. It is jam. Got more. Your rag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shove some silicone in there. Probably going to make this a mess to try to diagnose or repair, but you know what? I know it's going to prevent any water from getting into it. So that's the important part. Okay, so here's my wiring harness. It's not complete yet. I'm still missing the shielding for this and the wire and this wire. But basically this is what the harness and the light is going to look like. So I have my 12-inch LED bar. I have my 10 amp fuse, my relay, my switch, and my ground eyelets. So, and right here I have my electrical diagram. So what I'll do is I'll run it. The only thing that's not on the table right now is the winch relay, which is on the vehicle, of course. But basically, here we go. Light bar is here, which is over there. The winch relay, which is on the vehicle, which is where I'm getting my power. My 10 amp fuse. My relay, again. My switch, and my ground stud connectors. So the power comes from the relay, the winch relay, which is here, and it's to this eyelet right here. The power will run through this wire, through here, through the fuse. Once it leaves the fuse, it goes to number 30 on the relay, but it's got a connection that goes to my switch, which is to here, right there. So once that happens, once I turn the power on to send a signal to the relay, to the lights. So before I go to that part, I'll just show you the grounds. The switch has a light in it, so it has a ground. This wire right here, which is number 3, and it goes through here, and this is the wire itself right there, and it'll go all the way here. The relay needs a ground, this wire, through here. My light needs a ground, so this wire comes all the way back to the stud here, the eyelet here. So the light, the switch has a light, so it needs a ground. My relay definitely needs a ground, and my light bar needs a ground. That's it. Now, what happens when I activate the switch to the first level? Power will go through from 5 to 4, which is the green wire. Send a signal to the relay, which is 85, which is this one, which will let the power go from 30 to 87. So 87 is this wire right here, and it goes to my light bar, travels this way and all the way to the light bar, and it turns it on. So, but in order for the light to light up, there's a connector here, right, from the green wire here, which sends signals to my relay again. But I have a small little jumper wire that goes to the 6, which is a light connector on the switch. So 3 and 6 are my connections for my light in my switch. So that's it. This switch lets me have another switch for another light, which I'll add later. Same basic setup. I'll have another relay. So 2 and 5 will be connected together. And then 1 will go to another relay, which will be 85, to another relay for another set of lights. And of course, I'll get another fuse, another winch relay, which will be picked up off the winch relay power. That's it for the English part.